Okay, so I did some research on this flotilla and all the things that's been happening to this flotilla. And when I did this, it was back when they're in Tunisia, and so like I was so upset. And anyway, this video is going to kind of suck because I'm doing it on my laptop and because my computer is just, I need a new motherboard. So anyway, so the question that people ask, something that my wife asked me, is if Israel attacks a private ship registered in Portugal or Great Britain or any other country and is in a foreign country port without the support or authorization of either the country where the port is at or the country of origin, would that be an act of war? So this is what I found when I looked up international law. So yes, an attack by Israel on a private ship registered to a foreign country while docked in a foreign port without the authorization or support of either country would generally be considered an act of war under international law, primarily against Tunisia, because that's where it happened, due to the violation of its territorial sovereignty, and secondly, against Portugal or Great Britain or whatever other ship, as an assault on its flagged vessel and national interests. The assessment draws from the principles in the UN Charter, Article 2, Section 4, prohibiting the use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state. The UN Convention on the Law of the Seas, which affirms coastal state sovereignty over ports and territorial waters, and customary international law on neutrality and maritime jurisdiction. So here's some legal considerations, right? The violation of the Tunisia sovereignty. The port is unequivocally part of the coastal state's territorial sea, up to 12 nautical miles. Okay, so anything past 12 nautical miles is international waters. So any time that Israel has boarded previous flotillas or previous ships on their way to Gaza is actually an act of war and piracy. So anyway, like I was saying, up to 12 nautical miles from the baseline under Article 3 of the UN Convention on the Laws of the Sea. So where the state exercises full sovereignty, an unauthorized military incursion or attack within this space constitutes an unlawful use of force, akin to the invasion of a sovereign territory. So this could qualify as an armed attack under the UN Charter 51, Article 51, entitling Tunisia to respond in self-defense, even though it was a ship of a different flag nation. So, anyway, respond in self-defense to include military measures. Historical precedents, such as belligerent actions in neutral ports during wartime, have been treated as sovereignty violations that risk escalating to war. Rules under the 1907 Hague Convention on Neutrality prohibits such acts. So, here's another thing. So it happened in the port of Tunisia. So we went over the port of Tunisia, or Tunisia, and their acceptable response to this. So attacks on Portuguese flagged vessels or vessels of any nation from that flotilla, as the flag state, whatever state that is, and I use Portugal. We could use Great Britain. Exercises exclusive jurisdiction over that ship under the Laws of the Sea, Article 92, treating it as an extension of its territory for legal purposes. An unprovoked attack on foreign flagged merchant vessels, even a private one, is typically viewed as an act of aggression against the flag state, regardless of location. In neutral or territorial waters of a third state, this compounds the offense, as it disregards both flag state rights and host state neutrality obligations. Precedents like unrestricted submarine warfare in World War I and II show that sinking or attacking neutral merchant ships often been casus belli, grounds for war. So, neutrality and broader implications. So, Tunisia is a non-belligerent, is bound by neutrality, according to the 1907 Hague Convention 5, which requires it to prevent belligerent acts on its territory. Israel's unauthorized action would breach this, exposing Israel to claims of aggression. Of course, we already know that Israel does acts of aggression, because look at Gaza. So, and they can spin it any which way they want. They are committing genocide. So, if the ship is a merchant vessel not involved in hostilities, attacks on it are prohibited outside of declared naval warfare context. So, if you look at the San Remo Manual on International Law applicable to armed conflicts at sea, paragraph 67. The 1985 Rainbow Warrior incident, where France covertly bombed a Greenpeace ship, a Dutch-flagged ship, in New Zealand's Auckland Harbour, illustrates the consequences. France was held responsible for sovereignty violations and state-sponsored terrorism, paying reparations and facing diplomatic isolation, though it did not escalate to open war due to the covert nature. An overt military strike by Israel would likely provoke a stronger response, potentially including UN Security Council involvement or collective self-defense alliances. So, here's the thing. So, potential exceptions or mitigating factors. Self-defense claim. Now, Israel could argue necessity if the ship posed an imminent threat, which it did not. I don't know how a humanitarian ship providing aid unarmed poses some threat. But without evidence or a hostile state consent, it is unlikely to hold under international law. Now, here's where it gets a little dicey. Political versus legal reality. Act of war is partially a political declaration. States might opt for sanctions, arbitration, or UN resolution instead of military retaliation, as in the Rainbow Warrior. However, in a tense regional context, it could rapidly escalate. So, my thing is if I was the King of England or the ruler of Portugal or Greece or Tanzania or anybody else, and I knew that Israel had bombed one of my ships with drones, then yeah, I would do something about it. Absolutely. So, and that's the thing. In the military, we're taught a little bit of international law. Why? Because the U.S. military is a global entity. It's all over the world. And anyway, I don't want to get into that. What I want to do is stay on topic. So, private ship status. Being private, not military, strengthens the case against the attack, as merchant vessels enjoy protections under neutrality rules unless proven to assist belligerents. Now, this is where they could could have a case, but again, it's humanitarian aid for children and starving people. They're not delivering guns to Hamas. They're not delivering articles of war. So, in summary, this scenario would breach core prohibitions on the use of force, likely constituting an act of war against Tunisia and a grave aggression towards the flagged ship, with severe legal and diplomatic repercussions for Israel. So here's another thing. I was just informed right before I did this video that because Spain and Italy and Greece all sent warships, and now as far as I know, they're all gone. Greece might still be there, but there was no word on that. But Spain and Italy both bowed out. And that is a total lack of commitment on their part. They want to sit there and say that they recognize Palestine, yet they don't want to get involved with humanitarian aid. So that really tells me the heart posture of these countries. Any country that is refusing to help with humanitarian aid when people are dying and starving, regardless who the combatants are, regardless of what part of the world it is in. Take Israel, for example. Okay, so they say, oh, they're God's chosen people. Well, the people in the state of Israel, the actual state of Israel right now, are not the Hebrews, not the Israelites of the Bible. No, because if that was the case, one of the core foundations of God's law is love your neighbor as you love yourself. So either Israel hates himself really, really badly, or they're not God's chosen people. Now, I can say that because I have a little Jew, and I say Jew because I trace it back to the tribe of Judah. So that's the thing. Jew is not derogatory. It is literally the house of Judah. Judah, Jew. Okay, so then there's Hebrews. The 10 lost tribes are Hebrews. The tribe of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin make up the southern territory, where the 10 tribes lost to the four corners of the earth made up the northern tribe. So, yeah. The modern Israelis in the land of Israel right now are Zionists. Okay? They sold their soul to the devil, to the Rothschilds, to the Vanderbilts, to these people who run the world. Look, the Freemasons. Go into a church in Israel. You will see that there is the menorah, there is the cross, there is the crescent moon of the Muslims, all on top of a Freemason symbol. Now, you can't make this up. It is literally, I've seen it. You can't make it up. And if they were really the Hebrews from the Bible, the tribe of Judah. So here's the thing, and I know a lot of practicing Jews do not believe in the New Testament, and that is okay. But here's the thing: in the book of Revelations, it says that Jehovah will bring both the northern and southern tribes, all 12 tribes, back into the land. He's not going to trickle it. There's no rapture. Everybody is going to go through tribulation. Everybody. So you can get rid of that. You can see my videos on that. I explain it. Go look at Rumble. You can search it. Go look at Spotify. You can search it. So he's going to bring the 12 tribes back in tribulation. Not before, but during tribulation. He's not going to trickle in one tribe and then trickle in another tribe and then trickle in another tribe. No, they're all going to return at the same time. It's called the second Exodus, and it will be greater than the first, so great that the first one will not be remembered. So, anyway, I kind of went off on a tangent, so I was just actually doing how Israel's attacks on these flagged vessels of a different nation while docked in different ports is literally an act of war, or an act of aggression at least, against those sovereign states which these ships are flagged, and against the ports, the countries that these ships are docked in. So, you don't believe me? Go look at the UN Charter. Go look at the UN Charter for laws of the sea. Okay? There's international law for a reason. Okay? So, have fun.